You are listening to the Decipher podcast, hosted by the Super Bash Brothers.
Oh man,
What episode are we in?
I think we're at 4 now.
Wow, cool.
Things are moving.
Things are moving.
Things are moving. Episode 4.
Yes.
So today we're gonna get into some topics. We got a couple already planned. So one of them is gonna be project groups. So the whole essence of a project group is sometimes it's like an experiment. It's probably a few different choreographers getting together,
Or like a temporary
like
performance.
a one-off show. What do you guys? I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you think?
For me, like project groups, I think it's like an outlet for choreographers that are currently on teams. Maybe they're not getting opportunities to choreograph, and they're like, I want to perform and put something out there.
Yeah.
So project groups will form.
They're inevitable. So they're gonna happen. I think lately I've noticed a trend of where there's kind of almost a process to it.
Right.
Some groups they come out and they form a certain way. They have an audition or some kind of thing where you come to class, and if you show up enough, you can get down for one of these things.
Yeah.
Do you think that's become a thing in the scene first
For
off?
sure. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, are you seeing that too?
Yeah. Back in the day, it wasn't. I remember seeing like Miguel Zarate doing a project group, and his project became a team eventually.
Oh.
Very short-lived, I think, the team, but he was. I think he was the first one that I ever saw do a project, quote unquote, team, and it was dope, and everybody loved it, and it was super super sick, and I think it kind of inspired other choreographers like, I want to put together a little project. And then it became oversaturated. Everyone was doing a project, and I think from that it stemmed shows like Carnival.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that's probably where the influence for up here.
Right, because Carnival is like a showcase where it's not a team, it's the choreographer. And then it kind of trickled down to the Bay, and people were doing project teams.
So it became like a real project-heavy scene for a second. Interesting. When do you think that was? What time? I might have been out.
Yeah, I think you were out at that point. I don't know if all my years blend. It's from 2000 on, and it's still going. So I can't even tell you. I'm not very good with the timeline and the years, but I definitely remember like shows would have multiple projects in them.
It wouldn't be like regular crews you'd see.
Yeah, you just whatever Leslie Panichpakdi project or Daniel Kang project or whoever. Alan Frias. Well, I think you always. But as an example, I get you. Yeah. How about what's your take on?
I don't really have a take. I just don't understand what the difference really is
between a team and a project.
Yeah, especially coming from b-boying, it's like it's your crew, so that's just your squad. Like y'all just rep. Usually, you make a crew name. The Goonies. You make your little crew name, but that's why for me the project thing is weird. I don't understand.
Is there would b-boys form a crew temporarily and for that battle per se, or like jam?
No, sometimes there'd be some oddball names back in the day.
Right, just to make up a name.
But like I guess there are projects that become super crews and b-boying. So it's a little weird, but it starts to make sense when you start looking at their lives. Okay, these b-boys are on tour a lot. That's why they're a little crew now. They're from all over, but now they're a crew. So
I could see that though in b-boy, and like you're a dope b-boy here, a dope b-boy in this crew, and let's form this for this event or this jam or something.
Exactly.
Essentially, I think that would be like a project in the dance world.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but those are the ones that are on the TV, like a lot of the b-boy teams, the super crews, that's that model. So on the b-boy side, but I don't think you like audition I don't think you really like, I don't think there's any kind of like entry. And that's where it's a little different. And for the choreo, I'm kind of like, I don't understand that. I don't really get it, but it's cool. It's definitely organic. It has its own thing. But
yeah, I wonder if there's people actually charging to be on a project. Right. You know, like be on my project, pay.
You paid the $10 to audition, which in a sense is like the same thing, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I think for me it's teams like choreographers would use a project as an outlet. Sometimes even a video concept. Here I'm putting together a project. Yeah, like we had a project at Evolution. We've had a choreographer project showcase every year so far, and it's
pick one only. You try to
pick one. You try to pick one only. I don't think it was our intention. It just became it. Yeah, it's happening that way. We never would look for or ask a choreographer, "Hey, can you do a project at Evolution?" But it's happened every year, so it's definitely a trend. It's there. You know, it's happening.
It's part of the scene. It's in your show, every show.
Yeah, it's part of the scene, and I don't think it's gonna go away.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just more of an understanding thing, right? It's like those aren't bad.
What don't you understand about it? Is it because it's not gonna stick, or
no? More so, I don't understand when it's the paid to get down for this one time thing. I don't kind of.
As an experienced dancer or a brand new dancer?
I guess just coming from understanding it as crew. Like, to me, it's crew. Like, y'all been hanging out. We always dance and then we go get something to eat.
Right.
These are the people I'm going to perform with. Not like, show up Thursday, this date, this time. Boom.
And ready to go.
Yeah, like, I'm going to have casting. That kind of thing where it's like.
Yeah, and I remember projects. I've been in a few projects as well, and that's hard to organize, especially if you're trying to pull
a lot of personalities.
A lot of personalities and a lot of scheduling, because if you're trying to pull from different teams and you want to create a super group or whatever you want to call it, then you have to work around everyone's schedule, and creating the routine for a project becomes even more difficult.
Yeah.
Because you have to work who's available and who you're working with at that particular rehearsal.
Yeah.
So, or if you want to like leave a space information for whenever they show up, it's kind of difficult as opposed to a team when you know that people are committed and you're committed to do these shows, and you know the number of people you're working with, and they're going to show up every Wednesday at 7.
It's for eternity.
Yeah, you're not sure, and oftentimes you schedule a project, they're like, oh, I have a dinner, or something came up, and so your rehearsal schedule is all screwed up.
I feel projects, you kind of ramp up real quick. You get a bunch of choreography together, you get people together, you put it together in a month or two or a day, right? And then you just perform it. So it's like, okay, that's definitely different than a team or a company. Like, you built this whole flow, you've gone through this whole evolution, pun intended, this crescendo to performing. So it's just different, you know what I mean?
And I think projects also indirectly helped the community, because when people started doing projects and you're putting together sets as long as regular dance teams, you were seeing like what dancers are actually capable of. If you can put together a 6-minute set, 7-minute set, or even less than that in like 3-4 rehearsals, that means it's doable. You don't need 3 or 4 months. You can do it in, so it kind of pushed dancers to learn fast and turn the routine around, per se, and still have it clean. And because a lot of times on dance teams we're rehearsing for like 3-4 months for a set, and we're cleaning the shit out of it. We're drilling it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then a project comes, and you just have all these skilled dancers come together, and then they learn it in 3-4 rehearsals. It's like, wow, it's amazing. so I think it helped dancers think that, oh, that's possible. We can put something quick together. So essentially, that's like a good thing when you're creating or you're doing this project. Project
Yeah,
style.
you're doing more choreography. You're staging more often. You're doing more things. The repetition.
Yeah, I think like playing devil's advocate. I think the negative part on these projects are like, is it pulling dedication away from certain people that are on teams? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes it'd be like, oh, I'm at this rehearsal, I'm doing someone's project, can I miss this rehearsal?
Yeah.
And then you're like, but you're on my team. Like, you're committed to this team. I think that would be, I don't know if I've ever had that. I mean, maybe, but
I'm
I've
sure
been
it
kind of,
happens.
if we're not in the middle of a show, then I say nope. I mean, yeah, sure, go ahead. Work on that. Have a side project. I think they're healthy. But if we're in the middle of a show and then you choose the project and we're putting together a set, I'd probably have to say no, don't do the project, or pick one.
Pick one. Yeah, yeah.
But other than that, I
That
think
no, that's definitely one of the negatives for sure.
yeah.
I'd say like to me the negative is if I'm gonna pick at it, it's like you have all these like you said, dope dancers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you just package that and just try to perform at a theater for 4 months or a month, like for every weekend for a month, like
And make it
make it a show, like
yeah.
that's and so to me the negative is kind of like you do this amazing thing for a second and you just drop the mic.
Right. Oh, I get you. I get you. That's where you're coming from.
And it's like, hey man, like you could actually turn this into a dope show. You could be Rennie Harris. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where it's like, okay, that's if I'm really gonna nitpick at it, like but it's hard, like you said. They got a lot going on, other teams, other commitments, plus life.
Yeah.
It's like plus bills. We always gotta throw a bill in.
Yeah.
It's rough, but I think that's where the next level, I guess, could be. It's like you can start to make profit from this. You can push your art, but you could also, you're a promoter. You can put on an event or something.
I think you just pointed out levels to the project term. I mean, there's just the creative, the passion project.
To put it out.
Yeah, and then there's the jobs project where you, like you said, putting together a set for, or a performance for a show, or creating a show around it, and pulling dancers from everywhere and create a show, or even a music video or something.
Yeah,
or or just an act, meaning I'm saying, for example, like something with a little gimmick to it.
Yeah.
Like if you're wearing masks, I'm not saying that's a gimmick or anything, but or or am I saying that's a gimmick? It's a brilliant and genius gimmick. But yeah, I think they like anything, it has its pros and cons. Like for me, I think it's great. I think it's necessary sometimes, and it wouldn't be around if people didn't need it.
For sure. You need that extra outlet.
That side project. Like going on a side note, I think projects are so great. I think even if you are, let's say, an entrepreneur that you're dedicating your life to this startup or company, and you're hiring employees, I would encourage even my employees to do side things so that it balances you out. Because I'm like that.
Yeah.
When I'm so focused on videography and I'm doing all this video stuff, I'm gonna eventually burn out for a little bit and want to take pictures.
Yeah.
When the dance thing is overwhelming, I want to like do videos, or if all that's crazy, I'll pick up a guitar and twiddle around. On a larger scale, when you're on with a business, I think it's great, even for the business owner, the entrepreneur. Like I feel like like that's me and you have a lot of side things. I think it keeps our brain kind of going and
moving.
yeah.
Cam calls it creative ADD.
Oh, that's a good one.
He's told me that.
I'm gonna steal that one, Cam.
I actually think it's creative sprinting.
Sprinting.
Because the way we do it is, I guess, in difference would be, we kind of really sprint. Like you're doing a lot high intensity stuff, and you're switching to another one, and you're sprinting again because you got a little bit of time to do it. You know what I mean? Where creative ADD feels more like you're kind of bouncing around.
Yeah. I would even say, I'm gonna add to those.
Let's go. Fish, let's get deep.
I want to say it's creative juggling.
Ah, yeah.
Right? Let's say I'm a person, like I'm going to refer to me, and I cannot juggle. I don't know how. I've always wanted to learn how to physically juggle 3 balls at least. I can do 2. But I think for me, let's say I'm a dancer, musician, and artist, right? Yeah. For me to keep that balance going, that circular motion of that flow, I need to be giving each ball, quote unquote, air quotes, balance and like same momentum. So that just triggered my brain. Oh, I just went crazy on that. Like I feel like that's necessary. Supposed to. I feel like ADD.
Yeah, it feels like, or at least in the beginning when you're still refining everything.
Yeah, I feel like I'm sprinting in some sense.
But when you have deadlines for specific things, it's a sprint. It's like, oh, I have to get this quick.
I think the next next phase of that is the juggle. Because when you're able to juggle all the elements, there's a rhythm, there's a flow, and that's when you like maybe find success in what you're trying to do as a creative or a multi-potentialite. I just learned that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what we're called. Multi-potentialites.
Interesting.
Yeah, so...
put me on another word, polymath.
Polymath.
That's kind of like the same thing.
Same thing. I always juggled that. Oh, maybe this would be a great transition onto the next topic, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Exactly.
I always juggle with that. Since we're on it, I'm always juggling. Sorry, excuse me. I'm always battling that. If growing up, you always hear about masters. You always hear about the calligraphy master or the photography master or these filmmakers that are masters, but growing up, I've always loved a little bit of everything, and sometimes I was afraid to like try new things. I might fall in love with it.
Especially as a kid, because you kind of
as a kid, and so the next topic we're talking about is like all styles and dancers that kind of pick up styles
or they just do a lot of different dance styles in general, and then they enter these competitions.
Right. We're talking in the freestyle sense, right?
Definitely.
Right.
I would say, yeah, for sure. The open styles, just debut, all that kind of stuff. Debut. That kind of stuff where it's all styles, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely something we wanted to talk about. I think it's one of those things where do you learn each discipline, right? So let's just go with the basics. Locking, breaking, popping.
Yeah.
Right. Let's just go with and let's just throw in turfing because we're from the Bay and all that. So what's the minimum amount of locking should you know? How much should you know to even just enter a regular locking competition? Like
right.
Those have their own like tiers.
Man, that's crazy to even think about someone that's probably mastered all styles. Do you know any dancers that probably? I mean, Salah, right? Salah is popping bass, I would say.
Yeah, I would say it's Wiggles. It's gotta be Wiggles. He can break.
He can break, yeah.
He can pop. He used to break.
Yeah.
Right, at one time. He can lock like crazy. He can party rock. He can up rock. He can definitely pop.
Yeah.
And you can do all styles of that, But I don't even know if he would. I don't know if this is just blasphemy saying this, but I don't know if he would say he's a master. I feel he still feels he's learning because he's inspirational.
Oh man, that's a great point. I mean, do masters even think that they're masters? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
like, because even the masters,
We think are masters.
they teach you to always be a student
Right.
of the craft. But going back to dancing, I mean, I don't know anyone that's really like mastered all styles. I do believe that we should all learn all the foundation at some point and learn the basics of it and know what that is.
Yeah.
You know, um, especially in in hip hop, like you have the popping and the locking, the breaking are your first ones, and within those genres, there's sub styles.
Yeah.
Like in
styles
popping,
inside.
there's sub styles in there, and then there you have, I would say, like, it's not necessarily new, but like house, like it's been around since the 70s, 80s, but the dance isn't as old as like the fundamental styles like popping.
Yeah.
So, but for me as a choreo dancer and well, formerly freestyle that attempted, um, I learned all of those. I have to learn all of those, especially as a teacher. So I have to learn how to do like popping, like basics like the Fresnos, and having to learn how to lock and um, I mean, I could do a 6-step and CCs.
Right.
I can teach you. I can.
And that's my point. Like, how much of each is there like a minimum that you need to build?
Oh, that's a great point. What would you think that would be?
I don't know. I'm kind of lost where it's like, how much do you have to really know to be like efficient enough to battle? To me, most of them come to some kind of competition, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying win, but to be just doing it and competing, I think you maybe want to be at that level before you maybe want to jump to a new or do you do house locking, popping, Monday house, Tuesday locking, Wednesday popping, Thursday b-boying.
Right.
Like, do you do that for like 2 years, or do you just kind of go, I'm gonna do a year locking?
Yeah. Because it takes a lifetime for some people to like master one or like really hone their skill on one style. I think for battle situations, I would have to like be a technician at one style. If I was to battle, I would pick a style, and that style would be house for me, because that's what I gravitate towards. Obviously, as a person, you gravitate toward whatever dance style. If it was breakdancing or popping or locking, I would be a technician at one thing, and learn the other styles, and I would use that to. I would have that as my arsenal. So when I'm battling someone in an all styles jam or and a popper comes out and he's popping hard at me, I can rebuttal and pop a little bit and then show you my style. So just so I'm showing you I can do what you're doing, but I might not do as much because that's not my style. I'll probably start off with it or like mock him a little bit with the style that he's doing and then go into my style and show the other guy like this is my forte, this is where I live.
So on a counterattack mode,
right,
you'd show some skill of the same set, and then you would floss on your own thing after that.
Or even like if the battle is more friendly than combative, I can vibe off of him. If they're like top rocking, I'll top rock with him for a little bit just to kind of like
no hands in the face, but
no hands in the face, just grooving, just like gigging with him, and then go off. And I would probably use it as that. But if I was to give it like percentages, I don't know. Maybe I'll definitely a major one thing more than the others.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I couldn't give it a number because I'm bad at math. I'll probably come if I was to create out of 100, I'll probably come up with 135 because my math would be But yeah, I mean, I would be a technician at one thing for sure. Because I know in Just Debut, the butt, they put people in their categories. If you're a house person
They
and
match you up with a house.
Yeah.
Until like later on or something, then you get
I don't
mixed
know
up,
if there's. I think there would be like house champion
they
and
break them all
a
up.
popping and locking and all that stuff.
And the new school is like what late twins and them do, right?
Right.
That's what they call it.
Yeah, new
like
school.
That. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, that's a good point too. Let twins probably can do all styles a little bit.
So this is the thing for me.
Yeah.
I always bring it back to like martial arts for some weird reason.
Oh yeah. I was gonna get to that point. I was gonna get to that point.
Mixed styles. That's more of a mixed, not all. You know what I mean? Like they don't really do all. They just kind of
mixing it up.
Yeah.
Like mixed martial arts. They have a little bit of
boxing, a little bit of kickboxing,
jiu-jitsu,
a little bit of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But you're kind of blending them all together at the same time. You're not like jiu-jitsu time. Okay, now let's switch to boxing time. It's like, okay, we're gonna do house here, and then after 30 seconds of house, we're switching into 30 seconds of popping. Like, no, it's not. It's
yeah. I mean, that's maybe that can even apply to like dancing. If you were a mixed dancer.
Yeah.
You heard it here. If someone starts calling it mixed dancers, it came from
mixed styles.
Mixed styles. Not all styles, but mixed styles.
Oh man.
But I mean, let's say like, in a mixed martial arts, you're training boxing for this day and that day, and you have like a boxing coach. If someone applied it in all styles or whatever in dance, you training popping with your popping coach. That's an OG, popping teacher. And then when you go into battle, you're like using all of it. That would be a crazy hybrid, like kind of thing.
Definitely. So going to how would we, I guess, bring up enhancing that? It's like every studio should have the core dances if you start thinking about it, right? If every studio has a locking, like every gym has kickboxing.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu, focused on, specialized on something.
Yeah, that class on Tuesday and Wednesday or whatever. So I think once studios can really adopt the fundamentals being in every studio.
Yeah.
Every little studio has a house class. I think that's when you're going to actually really start to evolve that whole mixed all styles thing.
Yeah.
But if it's not available, it's
tough.
It's niche almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be great for the community if studios did that, So like for us, like we're strictly a hip hop studio.
Yeah.
We don't have jazz, tap. It might hurt us in the long run, as we're not being open to the other things as business, and I can't teach those. So, I'm focused on hip hop. So, but eventually we'll have house and, all the popping and locking classes. But I think that'd be great. Someone can go at a school and train there and take their house stuff there, and then a studio where they learn popping or.
So you're kind of going to like the traditional, almost in martial arts, like you Taekwondo school.
Yeah.
You just go there and then you go to like Muay Thai.
Muay Thai. There's disciplines in there, and this is what you gave me a thought as well when you were talking about martial arts. I immediately was thinking Kung Fu earlier when talking about a mixed dancer or an all styles dancer, because in Kung Fu you learn the tiger style or the dragon style or the snake, but in the Kung Fu movies back in the day, they're still learning other styles because they switch from one style to the next style. So you remember in the back in the day, they'd go dragon style and then boom, 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 boom. And then they switch to drunken master and then they're drunk, or depending on what the other person is doing. Let's say they know it's like the crane style. So I'm going to use the snake on you, kind of thing. I think it goes back to like the battle where, oh, you're popping? Okay, I'm a lock right now. Or, oh, I see footwork, you're housing. Okay, I'm going to just do some b-boying footwork,
So then it's about that skill being better at that person's other skill that they displayed at that moment. So that's where it's like, I guess with all styles, I almost think, shouldn't it be one round, it's this, Next round, it's that. So that meaning
Ooh.
like house. Second round is house. First round is anything up top, any up top dance, like
Yeah.
no floor. So you can do whatever you can.
That would be such a dope concept. Like, you know, a roulette.
Then it's really like all styles. You have
Yeah.
a round to flex that style, not like
Yeah.
oh you did a couple of those and now you're really going back to whatever you do.
You know, it'd be crazy if there's an event where, you know, DJs already play the type of music they have, right? Technical difficulties. We're back at it. Like DJs already dictate what the dancers kind of will move to. What if there was a competition? I don't know if this even exists, but a roulette type thing where it says house, popping, locking.
Oh, like a wheel.
A wheel.
Yeah.
And then it may be in between those wheels, there's like strutting, you know, like top rock, you know, turfing or crumping, you know, and then you spin the wheel. And whatever you land on, that's the style that you do.
For the round.
For the round.
And you can't blame anyone because it was the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be crazy.
That's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
Man. Like, who would you judge at all-style battles like that? Would you pick someone that's a specialist in one thing?
See, that's where I get
Or do you pick all, like, those well-rounded dancers to be a judging panel? Because I don't know how judging panels work in that kind of in the breaking world.
Pick people that either are really good at whatever style that is. So if it's a comp that's all styles in America, it's going to be the people that do it like whoever in America.
Mm-hmm.
People that do it in Europe, that Europe style, they're going to kind of gravitate to judges for that kind of style.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that kind of like subconscious thing to it. I don't know how to describe it.
It could be who's available or who's hot at the moment.
Yeah,
or like
I guess based on
who's an
idea
OG.
you mentioned with the wheel, I would have that many judges. Meaning, I'd have the salsa judge, the top rock judge. Like I'd have them all there.
Ooh.
But when it lands on it, that dude or person has the say for that. Right? So you know, I mean, you're getting still high quality from your judges. A lot of judges. I know as a promoter, you're like, I gotta pay for all this, but
yeah,
you know, if you start thinking about it, you're really finally going to be able to give people great feedback and judgment on each style because it's broken up, and then it's being critiqued at somebody dope.
Yeah, that's a great idea because I wouldn't want to judge if it was someone
House comes on, I don't know.
You know
what's going on.
Right? Like I wouldn't know what to do if, like, for example, crumping, because that's a whole different rhythm. Like I would be able to judge and know who's great by their movement, but I don't know any technicalities in crumping.
Yeah.
You know, but in house, I'm like, okay, I can see what you're doing, the footwork, and I know what footwork you're doing, and I'm familiar with it. So that's a great point. Like, I can just see a whole like back row of people, and then when it lands, and it's up to bat. The judges go watch, but then maybe.
But then there's one judge.
Yeah.
That's all.
For that specialized thing.
You don't have to have 3 per thing. You know, you're just like, yo, house judge is Jardy. Everything on house tonight is on him.
Yeah.
This is what he thinks, what he feels, what he likes. No.
Yeah.
You know. That's kind of.
And then everybody judges when everybody majority agrees. That's when you know you're the ultimate. At the end, you're the ultimate because everybody gets to pick one.
Because it would be ultimate. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last round or whatever would be all styles, right?
Yeah, all styles.
Majority rules.
So the last 2 per se. Now all the judges get to pick on that round because you ended up there. You did the styles, you did the wheel, you did
the whole time.
Yeah, you're there now, and then we could go left to right, or we can just pick from the name, and it could be like half of the judges like this guy, and you know had half, or they could be like 60-40, and then that guy wins. You know,
or it has to be unanimous. Keep dancing.
A marathon.
Keep dancing. No, that would be how. I think that's the best like breakdown of.
Well, that would be a good event. I'd want to see that event.
I'd be there hanging out for sure. I ain't entering, but I'd be hanging out for sure.
Ooh, that's ideas. Someone would take that idea and run with it, please.
Yeah, send us an invite.
Yeah.
Try to go. I want to be there. I don't gotta be a judge. I just want to be there.
Yeah. I just want to spectate. I don't want to film it. I don't want to photograph it. I just want to spectate and see if it works.
I want my free badge.
Oh man. Because I remember I was on this competition that Dennis Infante threw. It's called, what was it called? Called Out.
Called Out. What was that? One Cipher?
Yeah, One Cipher.
Yeah,
and so the concept was there's two teams, and then so we were all formulated by the styles that we did, that we specialized in. I was on, I forget which team A or team B, whichever one. The other team. That didn't win, unfortunately. Obviously, I was the choreo person, and then there was a locking person, a house person. You know, there were.
So they made a team. And then each team had like
whatever
stars
styles
of each caliber.
Yeah, and then so we created a routine first to the same exact song.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it was like a 2-something thing.
So they gave you a song or a mix or whatever.
Yeah. So it kind of ties in.
You had to choreograph it. That's being the choreography.
Yeah. Or help facilitate. We all had say in it. And then so after we created the set, we would battle each other.
You do it at each other during the same time?
So
you play it once and you look at each other and do it? Like
no, so we'd play.
Okay.
Ooh.
I was like, yeah, that's great.
And then my turn. The same song.
Same song.
No, oh gosh, I don't remember. I think we did it. We did it separately. We didn't do one at a time.
Okay.
We did it separately.
Towards the crowd.
Yeah, towards the crowd. We did a performance, like a choreographed performance towards this crowd, and then that was done, and then we would go, and then that was the first round, and then the second round was we battled each other freestyle. Yeah, so one at a time.
Blocking. The matchup.
It's up to you. There was no rules. We didn't specify.
So if they threw out a popper, you can be like, yo, salsa.
You can go. But I think what ended up happening is we kind of naturally gravitated to who came out. I remember Jardy came out and I came out but I thought I was a house dancer. I was supposed to be there for, Odie was the house dancer on my team. But I ended up coming out. And then so, yeah. I don't remember what I did. I think I might have.
So then, what did they do after the battle? They picked, and then there were scores for both.
Yeah, and the judges were the Jabberwockies and Arnell.
That's crazy.
And the crazy part is if we lost the battle, we can battle the judges to get extra 5 points or something like that. And so we were sitting there. We were like, beforehand, we agreed we weren't going to do it, win or lose. And so the host, we lost, and he kind of said, do you guys want to see the battle of the judges? We were like, no. And I was like, I don't want to battle Arnell and the Jabberwockies right now. And so we ended up battling them because obviously the crowd said, yeah, we want to see the battle. Yeah. That was a murder, obviously.
Slaughter.
But I remember seeing Bionic Man and Kevin Brewer going at it. They were going to go at it because this was the time. They were like, oh, the newer style versus like old. I don't want to say style.
SoCal versus.
Well, Kevin was from SAC, so count. But technically, Kevin Brewer.
He's from SAC?
Yeah. Yeah, but he moved to SoCal and danced with.
Way back when. Because since I came into the scene, I just know SoCal.
So he was originally from SAC.
Shout out.
But he was kind of like, he had this popping element style, but he wasn't really. I don't know. Maybe I'm offending Kevin, but it's not like your fundamental style popping. And they went at it, and his song came on, and we were like, and Bionic was on, and we knew that it was a song, and we were screaming at him, go, keep going, to like fill up the song so he'd get the bad parts. Oh, man. But he still killed it because he's Kevin. But those good times. Good
man.
times. But tying back into our conversation today, I think that kind of event, we talked about this thing that we kind of came up with, and projects and all styles. I think that was an event that was featured a project, because we were a team. We like kind of worked together. We scheduled each other. We put together.
That was a project.
That was just for the show.
And then you still got to battle.
And then on the other side, the second half of what we're talking about, which is all styles, we had all styles in our crew, and we actually never sessioned and practiced that. We were so focused on just putting together this set. But we knew that we were like, oh, you're the whacking person, you are the choreo person, you're the b-boy person. So, and I think we all, in our routines, we all did all styles.
Yeah.
In our choreographed routine, we were doing locking, we were all doing house, we were all doing all the elements of all styles, and we were proficient enough in all of them that it was decent. Like if
y'all had a minimum.
Yeah.
As a skilled dancer in the scene, you all had your minimums. You all had like at least a C grade.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
And everything. So
yeah,
I guess bringing that into light with the scene now, as in terms of advice, that should be like what people are striving for.
I 100% agree.
Even if you don't plan to battle, but being proficient enough to where you can be a C grade average and smoke at least what would you say, 5 disciplines?
Yeah, maybe
40
more.
disciplines? Getting crazy?
Yeah.
10? I don't know, but
100% agree. I think everybody, if you call yourself a choreo head or you call yourself a freestyler, everyone should be proficient in all styles. And learn the history of it. It's just like any craft. Like you have to learn. If you're an artist, you maybe have to learn all the different mediums: pencil, watercolor, paint. Painting on canvas, and all these things. You have to learn them. Foundation to me is so important. Even as a choreo person, I think you need to learn all these things.
Yeah.
So when you do encounter a choreographer that's a technician at one style, you can kind of do it. Or if you're at a job and it requires you to lock, you would know how to lock.
Yeah.
Or as a choreographer, not even as a dancer. Like if I'm like choreographing and it's like a funky song, then it requires me to lock. I can choreograph locking. It's not, I wouldn't say it's authentic, but I can choreograph locking. I can choreograph house. I don't know, maybe I can do like a kids top rock and breaking section with some 6 steps and CCs and a baby freeze at the end. I can do those, but because I've learned and I'm a student of dance and the culture, like I want to learn all of them.
Yeah.
The one thing I don't know, I'm not very well educated, is like the turfing side. I see it. I got a lot of good friends that are turfing. I've filmed it, but I don't know enough of it to really know like, okay,
it's a smaller scene too, so it's you got to really jump in and
and I just learned a new style. We had a teacher come in and was teaching choreography to like saucing stuff. Saucing. Yeah. I don't know.
This is new for me.
Yeah, it's like, when you like hit the folks and
like when you
the
put
floss.
stuff on wings.
Huh?
Oh.
Hit the floss? Oh, I mean, hit the folks? Oh, gosh.
The floss?
The folks.
I was like, yo,
Is it what you put on wings?
Oh, God. We old. I think we old.
Disclaimer. These are some old men breaking things down.
You're breaking the new style. Oh, God. Saucing. It's when you hit the folks. When you hit the folks like that.
Hit the folks?
Yeah. All the new trendy dance moves.
The dab and all that.
The dab.
Is that still pre?
I don't know what if dabbing.
Is it part of the sauce family? It's not on the show.
It's not on the show. It's a seasoning.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. I think we need to end this podcast at this point because we're starting to make up shit.
Yeah,
Saucy? I don't know if I want to do that. And if I'm offending somebody, I'm sorry.
We're so sorry. Next episode, we'll talk about saucing and the history and background behind and seasoning. Oh gosh.
All right, yo.
Till next time, Decipher Podcast, Super Bash Brothers, we out.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Decipher Podcast. Show your support by passing this episode along on your social media. If there are any topics you would like us to discuss on future episodes or feedback on this episode, please leave us a comment or message. Peace, positivity, and prosperity.